When you go back and you look at your past, you have some regrets on some things. You look back at those and you say, I don't even want to think about that. I hate I did that. I hate I was that person. I hate I thought that way. I hate I hurt those people. I hate I hurt the one that I love so much. And you feel that regret. And you look at things that you did with your life in relationship to today. I can't be what they want me to be. This is who I am. Look at my life. Look at how I was. Look at who I am. And you got record on what you've done to be who you are. And it's not the type of person that you look at that you want to be or that you want people to see. That's why a lot of people move away and they try to become something new. Or they try to recreate themselves and they want to stay away from the people in their past, not because they're trying to distance themselves, but they want to be something different. They don't want to be looked like that anymore. Because they don't want to be reminded of who they are. But thing is, who you are is who God wants you to be. Because he takes where you are and he makes what you need to be. And he can use you in such a way. But we have to change our mindset. Now, Jesus' reaction to our past is he forgives us. He is the ultimate forgiver. The problem is we have a hard time forgiving ourselves. We have a hard time forgiving those around us, and we are hardest on ourselves. Because a lot of times we look in the mirror and we think, I don't even want to see that guy no more. I don't even want to see that person no more, but they looking right at you. Every single time, because you know what's in your heart. But you say, I want to get rid of it. How I keep doing these same things based on what I've done to myself. Well, I want you to look at something. I want to look at a great story. Let's look at the story of Peter. We're going to stay in the scripture a little bit today. Matthew 26, start at verse 31. It says, then Jesus told them, this is during the Last Supper, this very night you will all fall away on account of me. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee. Peter replied, if all fall away on your account, I never will. Now, let's pause. Nobody asked Peter anything. Nobody asked Peter what he thought. He just felt the need to say, no. If nobody else is around, I'm around. If nobody else says anything, I'm going to say something because I'm going to be there for you. I'm not going to fall away. I'm going to stay right there. I never, underline that word never, right? I never will. Jesus jumped on him quick. Truly, I tell you, Jesus answered, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. Think about that word, because we always hear the word deny. Disown. I don't know you. Y'all know how that must feel? Think about that now. Somebody who you love, your day one, the one who's with you the most, the one who you can trust, says, I don't know him. That's got to hurt, right? He said, this very night you're going to do it. But then Peter declared, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And all the other disciples said the same. Notice everybody said that. Not just Peter. Everybody jumped in because Peter led the front. And we don't usually teach on that, but that's the truth, right? Even if I have to die, he put his life on the line. You see how hard he stood on that? Now think about how good in a regular conversation that had to make Jesus feel. I'll die for you before I say I don't know you. That's got to feel like, okay, I got somebody with me. We going into this together. In that very night, let's go to Luke. Luke 22, 54 through 62 is what we're going to read. Luke 22, starting at verse 54. Shortly they pray. They go up and Jesus praying. They Jesus, right? Then seizing him, they led him, being Jesus, and took him into the house of the high priest. Peter followed at a distance. Now the high priest's house, you could see inside of it, right? A lot of these houses were open, okay? So Peter was in the courtyard. Peter followed at a distance, so he's keeping an eye on Jesus. That sounds like somebody who in it with you, right? They took him away. He didn't go the other way. He didn't run. He followed as a distance to see what was going on. All right. Sounds everything going good in Peter's area, right? And when some there had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, Peter sat down with them. So the courtyard is right there outside the high priest's house. So he can keep an eye on Jesus to see what they're doing. And while he's sitting there, they start a fire. So he sit down and so he keep an eye on Jesus. So right now, what you doing? Shame. All right, I'm going to turn this one on. All right, because y'all got to hear this. All right, it's on now, right? All right, we're good. Let's see. All right, so that Peter sat down with them, right? A servant girl saw him seated there in the firelight. She looked closely at him, staring at him, and said, "This man was with him." But he, Peter, denied it. "Woman, I don't know him." All right? "I don't know him," he said. A little later, someone else saw him and said, "You are also one of them." "Man, I am not one of them," being a disciple. About an hour later, another asserted, "Certainly this fellow was with him, for he is a Galilean." Peter replied, "Man, I don't know what you were talking about." Just as he was speaking, the rooster crowed. 3 times he disowned him. I don't know him. Now here's the hard part. 61. I want you to put yourself in Peter's position. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word of the Lord had spoken to him. "Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly. I want y'all to think about this feeling. You said you were going to die for this man. You looked this man in his eyes and said, "I will die before I disown you." That man told you, "You're going to disown me tonight." And you doubled down and said, "No, not me. I will never disown you. I will put my life on the line for you." And just then, that same night, no time had passed. You just said it. And then 3 strangers just say you one of them. They didn't say we're going to take you off. They didn't threaten you. Now, you might have felt they were. But you denied him 3 times while he was right there within earshot. And all he could do was look at you. Think about how that must have felt. Think about if you had somebody in your life, your closest person. Think about who you closest to. Your husband, your wife, your mama, your daddy, whoever. And somebody come get them. Or they in trouble. Or they hurting. And they need you, if nothing else, for moral support. And they say, "Oh, you with them?" And they look at you. And you say, "No, I don't know 'em." Or they standing in court for something they didn't do. And you know they didn't do it. They know they didn't do it. And they say, "Hey, you got any family here? Who's here with them to support them?" And you look around like everybody else look around. And they look at you and you ain't got nothing. Right? Nothing to say. That's it. That's messed up. You imagine the pain in this relationship? This relationship done, right? We can't come back from that. So now they say, "Oh, you innocent." And you go back out and they say, "I knew you was innocent." Man, get away from me. I saw you in there hiding. When they asked you directly, "Are you with him?" and you said no. And you turned the other way like you didn't even know me. And we grew up together. I'm your son. You my daughter. all these situations, and you said you don't know me? You denied me? That's some pain. That's some regret. So Peter did what? Went away and weep bitterly. That means that's some serious hurt, right? Now I want you to think, over the course of the next few days, Jesus being beaten, Jesus carrying his cross, Jesus crucified, and who's right there seeing the whole thing? Peter. And he just wants something to heal whatever hurt that he feeling. Now you just denied this man, and now you looking at this same man die. But who is he dying for? He dying for you. Can you imagine that? You just denied him and he dying for you, looking you in your eyes, and now he dead. Now, here's the thing about the disciples. Now, Jesus told them he was going to be raised again, right? Y'all think he believed them? They didn't really believe Jesus. They was like, okay, Jesus, that's a little much. We believe we seen this other stuff. But you talking about death, man. That's different. So now Jesus dies, and Peter got to go through his life hurt, pain. How do I deal with this? So that's some serious shame. And he said it in front of all these people. Now, I don't know if the other disciples was around. It didn't really say. But that's a lot of internal hurt. And I'm pretty sure Peter did not have a lot of restful nights thinking about, the one image he probably saw. Imagine Peter over there, Jesus right here, looking at these people about to try him for something he did not do. And soon as Peter say the last time, Jesus just look at him with all that Jesus. This Jesus now. This ain't somebody you be like, well, this Jesus. So all that Jesus looking at you. And then turn away to go back and be hurt, beat, crucified. And you got to walk away. Golly, man, that's heavy, right? So imagine that. Now look at what Jesus did. So Jesus was raised again. We know the story, right? He was raised again. So now it's one thing that you got to deal with it on your own. Amen. Now he back. He said, man, I gotta look this man in his eyes and talk to him. Now he was up on the cross. You couldn't have no one-on-one conversation with him. He was being tortured. As bad as you felt, you were gonna have to deal with this on your own. You could kind of keep it a secret, because I don't know if the other disciple were around to keep throwing it in his face. So he could at least deal with it. But now here Jesus back. And you got to go up to Jesus and talk. Whew. That friend that you thought was going to go to jail, that they said, who else know him? Who was with him that night? I wasn't with him. I ain't got nothing to do with none of this. Right? Now, it's one thing to be like, man, look, if you do that, I'm going to tell. Right? You can be the snitch guy. Or you can be the guy who say, look, y'all do this, I'm running this way, that's on y'all. And when the police come, you like, I ain't got nothing to do with it. But it's another thing to be like, man, I don't know none of them. I ain't never seen them before in my life. That's hard, right? And then they say, we got no evidence against these guys. They all innocent. And you waiting outside the courthouse like, hey, man, where we going tonight? Nowhere with you. Amen. You disowned all of us. That's one thing, because you thought they were going to get locked up, but they didn't. They free. And you got to go try to make amends. But here's a situation where a guy was actually killed, raised again, and here he come. Whew. A lot of heaviness, right? So what ended up happening? Well, the third time that they laid eyes on Jesus, all the disciples were in a boat fishing. They weren't catching nothing. And Jesus told them to cast it on the other side, and they caught all this fish. But before that, they looked on shore, and they said, that looked like Jesus. And soon as Peter saw it was Jesus, he wrapped his robe around himself, and he swam from the boat to the shore to greet Jesus. A little over-exuberant, right? Why? Felt some type of way. I got to prove to you that I'm still that guy. because I didn't do what I said twice. I said I would never disown you. I did it 3 times. You told me I was. I told you again I would die. Not only did I not die for you, I disowned you 3 times. So yes, when I see you, I'm going to jump in the water and I'm going to swim over to you. I think about times that I've seen maybe my parents run into somebody from the past, and the person is over like, hey, how you doing? I ain't seen you so long. Look at Reggie, I grew up, blah, 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 blah. And my mama just like, hey, okay. And we walk away like, who is that? Oh, that's such and such, such and such. And I'm like, dog, what they do? But that person is so, I want to love on you so much. But we don't know what happened back then. Something, it wasn't good. But y'all been in those situations. You've seen it. And that other person who wants that forgiveness is overly, right? Want to hug, want to give. I want to show you something. So Jesus sat down and he said, hey, go on the boat and get some fish. Peter was the first one. Ran and got the fish, came back, right? That's what it says in John. He's trying to get some, please accept me back. I need some help, right? Okay, I want y'all to see this. So then in John 21, let's go there. Starting at verse 15, we're going to read these 4 scriptures. The Bible preaches itself sometime, right? That's it. It says in 15, when they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Well, of course he's going to say, yes, Lord, he said. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs. Again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered, yes, Lord. You know that I love you. Jesus said, take care of my sheep. The 3rd time he said to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the 3rd time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my sheep. Very truly I tell you, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said to him, follow me. The ultimate forgiveness. How many times did Peter deny Jesus? How many times did Jesus ask him, do you love me? 3 times. Notice in the end, he told him to follow me. What did Jesus tell Peter the first time he met him? Follow me. Notice how he erased all that. Let's start this over. Let's fix this, right? Jesus could have just said, hey, man, it's cool. I forgive you. Don't even worry about it. But don't that leave a lot of questions? You still wondering if it's true. Because, see, we as a people, we hard. At least we try to be. We try to cover up, and we don't even, like I said, we don't forgive ourselves. We have a hard time forgiving other people. Even so, we say, hey, man, I forgive you. It's cool. Don't even worry about it. But you ever notice the relationship still ain't like it used to be? And then you say things like, we cool? What's the answer? Yeah, we cool. We all right? Yeah, we all right. And you looking like the body, ain't nothing lining up. Like the body language, the tone, everything off. But I'm asking the right questions. I'm giving you the right I'm doing everything I can. Your words are there, but nothing else is there. Then I call you like, man, what's going on? How you doing? Oh, what's up? Oh, man, that's the energy we getting. I ain't talked to you in a few months. Yeah, you know. How you been? Good. How the family? Fine. What you getting into? Nothing. All right. All right, then. We good? Yeah. Man. And then all of a sudden, you're like, I ain't calling them, you ain't calling them. 2-3 years go by, and that's pretty much it. Am I about right? About right? So Jesus could have did that. And would he have been justified? Yeah. I can't trust you, man. You told me you weren't going to deny me. I told you you were. And then you doubled down. And then you did it. In my face. I looked at you. You can't even deny that. And I know you want to because you a liar. Ain't that what we would do? Yeah, I think so. And then they be like, I know, man, I'm so sorry. I thought they were going to kill me. I've never been in a situation like that. And they just pour their heart out to you. All right. Now you feel in this situation, you understand what they went through, but you feel good because now you got all this in your Rolodex. It was not Rolodex, your deck of cards, right? I went way back with the Rolodex. But when you talk about, I got all this against you, I want to watch you hurt. I want to watch you feel the way I felt because you deserve it. And the more you do that, it gives you a little bit more power. So you feel good and, yeah, you stay over there. I'm good. I don't need people like you in my life. And that's how you go through life. Not really forgiving the person, but saying all the right words. But notice what Jesus did. He didn't take the easy way out. He could have just forgave him, but he healed his wounded heart. That heart that was broken, he broke it even more. Why did he do that? Because notice when it said he asked the third time, Peter was hurt. He had to push Peter to the limit to show, I'm healing your broken heart. I got to go to the part where it hurts, where we both uncomfortable, and break this heart so that we can heal it the way that it needs to be. Because otherwise, you just going to give me these blank answers. Do you love me? Yeah, I love you. I'm going to do for you. And we're going to have this weird relationship where you feel you owe me all the time, and I don't want you to feel like you owe me. I just want to go back to how it was. And the only way we can do that is to deal with it all the way to the core. So he broke it all the way down to where it couldn't go no more. He broke his heart. He healed him. And he said, follow me, just like you used to. We back to where we were. We back to square one. We all right. That is the way to heal somebody. And the thing is, we have to do the same thing ourselves. You know the one thing that we love to listen to? Let's go back to this radio station analogy. Sad music. Man, there's something about sad music. And it starts making you think about your past love or people you didn't do right or old situations where somebody done passed away, they ain't here no more. You want to think about it, and then you'll play it again, then you'll put it on repeat. Just keep it coming. Keep it coming. I'm going to stay right here. Keep singing, Shouldve. Keep singing. Because it don't matter. You just put her whole album on. The mood don't change. Just stay right there. Bring it to me, Tony Braxton. Just keep it coming. Whole album. Just get worse and worse. He broke you again, didn't he? Yes, he did. Lord have mercy. They so horrible. And we stay right there. Why? It feel good. It's something about it. You sad, but it just puts you in that mood. And the reason, the scientific reason is sad music actually releases a hormone. The hormone is designed to help you deal with traumatic events. You notice how you feel that when someone passes away or when you're heartbreak, you feel a little bit of anxiety boost and some other things start going on with you, a little tingling. That's your body. It's ready to deal with the traumatic event. The problem is we never really deal with it. We just stay there. In our trauma, we sit in it. We talk about how bad we were and how much we did. And even though we tried to fix it, it didn't work. And I'm so hurt, right? We throw on Lenny Williams, right? Watch TV till TV went off. Balled itself up in a little ball in the corner. Want to die. Oh. But we have to deal with the trauma. And I want you to think about that's what Jesus did. So when you bring your regret, when you bring your pain, when you bring yourself, because there's some stuff that you did that you ain't even thought about. But when you bring it to him, not only does he deal with it, but he takes it all the way down to where it can't go no more. And he fixes it and he cleanses it. And he's the only one that can. Because you look around and you see all that you're not, all that you want to be. I call it the ifs and whys. If I would have did this, and why did I do that? He cleanses all that so you can stop thinking about that stuff. Now, when Peter thinks back, he ain't got to think about it no more. He know he can go forward. In Hebrews 12, 1 through 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning his shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Notice it says throw off everything that hinders. See, here's the thing. I will tell you, there is not a person on earth that can look back in their life and say they've done everything right. Even if they've been trying to prepare for everything. And the person that you are is somewhat the person that you were. What I mean by that? You can't be where you are if you didn't live the life that you lived. Now, you got regrets, you got things you did, but look at what it made you. And you think God can use that? He can use that. I'm here to tell you, I'm not supposed to be up here talking to y'all. You know how much stuff I got that I done did? Don't go look. Wasn't that bad, but it was bad for me. Bad enough not to be no preacher. But then I thought about it. I said, what preacher deserves to be on the stage? Nobody. We all human. I don't care who you are. There's nobody who's so perfect. Because I know my idea of a preacher. I don't care where he was. He's supposed to be reading the Bible. I don't care if he was a football fan. He better have the Bible right there. And if somebody's sick, he better be there with his Bible. If somebody, I had that little house on the prairie preacher. You know, anytime something go on, you go to the preacher. He was all, and you ever notice, I don't know if y'all look at these old shows, but them people lived at the church. They just be a random Monday. No service going on. They got a problem. Preacher open the door. Hey, I'm like, dog, he always at the church. He must just be preaching. They must just walk in on preaching. I don't know how a preacher worked, but he was perfect. That's how I thought life was. But it's not, and we know better. But that's the way we think. I guarantee you go to Applebee's or Ruby Tuesdays or Olive Garden, wherever your restaurant, and you walk in there, and if you saw your preacher with his college buddies or high school buddies just laughing, they ain't talking about Jesus. You can't even eat. Because you over there looking at the preacher talking about, what he drinking on? What he eating? He better get home and read. He got service in 4 days. he better be getting ready. It's just like when you look at sports, right? You look at your quarterback, what he doing out eating? He's supposed to be practicing. We got a game in 6 days, you know. That's the way we think. Whatever your role is what your role is. And we think we supposed to be the same. We can't do that. You are who you are, but let God in your life and he will direct everything you do. Now, dealing with regret, I'll tell y'all this story. So there was a lady, always wanted to be a singer. Always just had it in her heart to be a singer. And her best friend from high school, ended up making it as a singer. Fantastic singer. And she would go around and she had, she would tour, right? International tours, national tours. So she was coming to town, so they hooked up, and she told her friend, I didn't pursue my dream like you pursued your dream. I wanted so bad to be a singer, but I never did it, and you did it. And the friend said, I got a stage. I want to share this with you. I want to give you the opportunity, since you're regretting it so much, that you can use my stage and we can put you out there and see what happens. So the friend said, oh my goodness. Okay, this is great. So during the concert, the friend gets out, she sings about 4 or 5 songs, and then they have this little plan. She's going to come out and she's going to help her sing this 5th song. So the friend comes out on stage. She goes to a microphone. The band starts playing. And she sings the best she's ever sung, right? She belts out into this microphone, and it was horrible. I mean, it was bad. It was so bad. It was voice cracking, everything. She looked up, and everybody just looking at her like, ugh, right? And the crowd starts like laughing because it was so bad. Then they start booing. So her heart's broken. So she runs off the stage, but then she trips over the wire and bumps into the bass player and knocks him into the speaker. She's crying. She runs to the back. Can you imagine? crowd full of people, and you just bombed, right? But this all you got. You sung the best you can sing, and it was not good. So she's in the back crying. During the intermission, the friend goes back to the room and tells her, I'm so sorry. I know this is so painful for you. And she's like, so what do you think her regret is now? I regret I ever went on that stage because now it's going to be memes and everything else, right? Because this is so bad. And the friend say, yeah, that was bad. And starts to laugh. And she laughs. And they both laugh. And they come up with the idea. They bring her back out on stage, and the friend gets out there and says, my friend came out and did horribly. And everybody laughed and said, yes, she did. And she then told everybody how courageous she thought her friend was for facing her fears and doing something that even though she was not good at it, she did it. And they went through, and everybody in the audience sung the song together with the friend. The friend went on to write books about facing your fears and doing stuff even though you don't know how to do it. Now think about it. If they would have left that alone, that friend would have looked back at that moment and been horrible. Felt low every time she thought about it. She fell on stage. She sung horribly. Everything went bad. But now when she looks back at it, she actually smiles. Amen. She actually thinks differently about that moment, right? Her perspective changed. Now notice the past didn't change. She still fell on stage. She still fell into that dude. She still sounded bad. She still got booed on stage. She got booed and laughed at by thousands of people. That's pretty bad. But she looks back at that moment as a growth moment and as a moment of happiness now. Why? Because her perspective changed on the moment. Your past will not change. Your perspective of why you look at your past can change in perspective to how you live today. So I want you to think about everything that you've done is going to be there. You did it. You were there. It's you in the flesh. But how you look at it and how you use it can change. I worked with my dad for I don't know how long. And I was horrible. Not good. But I broke stuff. I messed up stuff. I probably put more paint on myself than I did the wall. I didn't trim well. I didn't even pick up wood that well. I was not good. I was so bad that when it came a chance to where I said, I don't know if I want to go to school, I might just work with Pops. I'll just work with you. He said, no. That ain't gonna, you need to do something. You need to join the military, find a trade. Now, he has a trade. I could learn from him. I've spent years with him. No. You ain't built for this. But notice how long I told you I worked with my dad. So even though I was messing up, he handed me the paintbrush again. He hand me this again. He tell me to do it again. He wake me up and tell me to go again. There were nights where he brought me home after fussing at me so long. I'm like, I ain't going to be going back tomorrow. And here it is, 6 o'clock. Hey, come on. For real? I know if I wasn't your son, I'd definitely be fired. But okay, let's go. So to think back at those times, I don't even remember. It's almost comedy, right? But it could have been a moment of shame. It could have been a moment where I felt like I couldn't do nothing right. It could have been a moment where he chastised me so bad, like, can't you do anything? What's wrong with you? Right. He could have used a lot of words on me and been justified doing it. Because some of it was just me being sorry. Sleep in the truck, yeah, I did that. So, but when you think about it, your perspective can change based upon how you make the other person feel. So you got 2 lessons in one today. How you treat other people in those moments can change their lives. How you treat yourself now, looking back at those moments, can change your life. So your perspective matters. So when you look at what Jesus did with Peter, who was hurting, who was in pain, who was in a point to where he cried so bitterly, to where when he saw Jesus afterwards, that he was going over and beyond trying to make things right, knowing he could never fix what he did. Jesus changed his whole perspective on that to where he said in 1 Peter 5:7, his words, cast all your cares, all your anxiety on him. Why? Because he cares for you. So when you think about, does Jesus really love you? Think about who wrote these words. Think about what this man did to Jesus directly. Now, we all know that we sin, but we didn't do what Peter did, looking at him in his eyes. And Peter can say the words, you can give him everything that's wrong in your life. You can cast everything you got on him. Why? Because he cares for you. And Peter can double down on that and says, because I know, because trust me, I had some worries. I had some anxieties. I denied that man and disowned that man to his face. And you know what he did? He forgave me 3 times. And then he told me to follow him. And he told me to follow him with the same tone, with the same love that he did the first time he told me to follow him. Because the first time I gave it all and I said, I'm going to follow you. But it even meant more the next time because I know that I had hurt this man. And now I follow him all the way. Peter even died because of the cause that he put in. So think about the impact that forgiveness had on Peter's life. He would have went through life doubting, hurting, never fixing, always looking back with regret. But now he looked back at that moment of denying. He don't even think about it no more. He looked at it as a reason why Jesus expressed his love to him so much. So repurpose your past. Don't think about all that negative stuff you did. Look at it as a moment to where Jesus showed you how much he really does love you, how much he really does care for you. So you can change the radio station now. You don't have to listen to another sad love song. You don't have to listen to the Shouldve. You ain't got to listen to it now. You can jam to it. Not saying you don't. But you don't have to go to that point of depth and hurt and pain in your life. You are something special. You are awesome. You are great just the way you are. And you can't fix that past, but you can look at it a whole lot differently. You can look at your past as a building block for making you who you are, because now you stronger, you better. That relationship that you had may not ever be what it was, but Lord knows it made you love harder. The relationships that you had today gonna matter more. That person may be gone, and that's fine. It is what it is. But you forgive them. You hope they forgive you, but you can move on in your healing. You can't look back at that all the time, punishing yourself, hurting yourself, being down on yourself, because you can never live to your potential if you're doing that. You made some mistakes. And don't even worry about saying we all have, because that just makes you feel better. You made some mistakes. By yourself, you did it. It's all right. It's all right. What about today? Today's Sunday. What's today's date? 19. Today the 19th. Start today giving it to God. Cast all your cares. And he going to say, do you love me? And you going to say, yeah. And he going to say, do you love me? And you going to say, yeah. And he going to say, do you love me? And it's going to hurt. Lord, I love you. Why are you asking me so much? And he going to say, love you too. Follow me. And he said, oh, what about, I said, follow me. But what? I said, follow, what I did, I said, follow me. I didn't ask you about what you did. I asked you who you are today, with what you have today, with all the stuff you did in the past, with my understanding of who you are, to follow me. And as you follow him, you will notice stuff just start falling off. Your burden getting lighter. You're going to stop looking to the past so much, you're going to look to the future. Even when people come up to you and say, man, I remember when you was, yeah, that was me. But look at me now. I remember you. No, this can't be you. Yeah, believe it. Believe it. You can believe what you want. You can think what you want. And I did it. And you can feel fine. Go back to the people you was around. It's fine. Show them what God can do. You are a trophy of what God can do with anybody. Let him use you the way that he wants to.